Tiffany, and I will be presenting about the introduction. MIM is a mobile instant messaging app which allows users to send and receive real-time text messages, make free phone calls, and also other content. Due to the severity of COVID-19, schools, universities, and other educational institutions are compelled to transition to remote technologies such as MIM. Despite the advantages of MIM app, there are negative consequences such as fatigue due to communication overload and invasion of life. Therefore, our study is to shed light on the extent of communication overload and invasion of life from MIM applications which contributed to fatigue among students. Next, I will be presenting about the literature review on the increased MIM usage. So according to HEB1023, he stated that with the current shift towards distance learning caused by the COVID-19, there is an ever-increasing need on information and communication technology for online learning and teaching, as well as MIM, particularly WhatsApp, as it offers students several advantages in this subject, which increases the MIM usage. Next, for fatigue. According to Radzi, Malik, Abbas, Adil, and Gayas 2021, fatigue is a physiological condition that is often experienced by the general population, particularly students, as a result of their hectic schedule.
Communication overload occurs when a student is losing focus due to excessive interruptions and is overwhelmed by demands of communication. This can occur due to too many messages, too much information received, and falling behind schedule due to distractions. Invasion of life occurs when leisure hours and working hours are blending together. This can occur when others are messaging the said student during typical leisure hours and causing them to feel like they are constantly tied to work.
Hi, I'm Tivia, and I will present you about the problem statement related to our study of fatigue caused by the MIM use. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, institutions were compelled to transition their educational activities to remote technologies. In accordance to that, students rely more heavily on the MIM than prior to the pandemic. A new mental confusion was created, in which increasing level of fatigue is associated with increased level of MIM usage. Students are unaware that the communication overload and invasion of life causes the fatigue. Moving on next on the research question, we want to see on how and to what extent does the communication overload causes fatigue from the MIM usage. Next, for the objectives of study, we want to study how communication overload and invasion of personal life from MIM usage causes fatigue among the undergraduate students. There are two types of hypotheses, null hypothesis and also alternative hypothesis. For the null hypothesis, communication overload and ubiquitous connectivities intrude personal life, causing students to experience mobile messenger fatigue. For the alternative hypothesis, there is a clear distinction of boundary between ubiquitous connectivity and communication overload does not cause students to experience fatigue. For the significance of study, this study examined the fatigue developed by the MIM among the students. This study also intended to fill in the gap done by the previous research and contribute to the distance learning research. This study also explored the relationship between invasion of personal life and communication overload with fatigue. Lastly, this research aimed to elucidate the negative outcomes of MIM use.
Hi, I'm Wan Rou, and I will be presenting about the methodology of the study. Our study utilized a quantitative correlational research design. The correlational study is to determine whether the independent variables, which are communication overload and invasion of life, and the dependent variable, represented by fatigue, are correlated. Data was collected through online questionnaire. The style of questionnaire given are yes or no questions, semi-structured questions, and a 5-point like a scale. The survey was blasted through WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. Our respondents of study is focused on full-time undergraduate students in Malaysia. Our targeted respondents was 60, but 82 respondents were successfully recorded. A comparison of severity of fatigue between engineering and non-engineering students was also carried out.
For section A demographic, from our findings, it is obtained that more than half of the students are female, which is 66%, and 33% of the students are male, and 1% of students chose prefer not to say. Moving on, it is found out that majority of the students are from 18 to 21 years old, which usage is 85.4%, and only 12 students are aged between 22 to 24 years old. For engineering versus non-engineering, it is found out that 47 students are engineering and 35 students are non-engineering. For section B, which is knowledge and usage of MIM, it is obtained that there are top 6 main MIM applications that the students utilize. Nearly all of the students utilize WhatsApp as their main MIM application, where 81 out of 82 respondents use WhatsApp, followed by Telegram, WeChat, Facebook Messenger, iMessengers, etc. Next, due to COVID-19, nearly all of the students, which is a total of 92.7%, strongly agree and believe that their use of MIM application have increased due to COVID-19.
78.1% of students have agreed that communication overload from MIM has caused them to feel fatigued. The majority of students agreed that they received too many messages. This can be due to the increased MIM usage due to the shift to online learning during the pandemic. Over 70% of students have agreed that MIM has interrupted their workflow and decreased their productivity, possibly due to distractions such as students' habit to frequently check for new messages, reported by many of them as shown. In which explained by Abdul Latif and Kar Wisnuki and Lu, have caused students to lose motivation and fall behind schedule. However, in contradiction to the literature read, less students have agreed to wasting too much time on MIM and losing motivation. This can possibly be because of the stress from MIM fatigue has boosted their productivity to a certain extent, as explained by Hong, and as observed from the students' method of coping. Many of them took breaks, regulating their time to these applications and staying motivated. So in conclusion, increase in MIM usage is positively correlated with the intensity of communication overload, which is positively correlated with the intensity of MIM fatigue.
It was shown that there is a positive correlation between fatigue and invasion of life among students. Due to the pandemic, online learning has made students feel that they can never be free from ongoing related conversations about studies and academic, even during holidays, weekends, and their typical leisure hours. This issue would lead to fatigue among themselves, which consistently connected back with a study from Xiao et al. 2019. Thus that students that receive this kind of messages during this time, they might prefer not to work, neither concentrate. Hence, this issue affecting their focus and their academic performances, where they would only give their minimal efforts to complete their assignments and other assessments. On that, there are 3 mental health concerns due to invasion of life. 39 and 29 students claim that they felt overwhelmed and uncomfortable, respectively, when using the MIM application, knowing that their activities can be monitored. The remaining students were also found to feel burnt out from having to constantly keep up with all these messages from MIM applications. This correlates to Gaudioso et al. 2017 paper mentioned that the invasion of life provides a sense of being always attached to the institution, resulting in high pressure, indicated as the burnout for students during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Students have also offered their suggestions and opinions related to our study. The other factor that were causing MIM fatigue among students are the first, information overload. They were losing control and unable to process overly large amount of information. Second is social insecurity, which these students have fears of being alienated in MIM applications. Next, from compulsive usage, the time wasted on MIM applications even when there was nothing of relevance led them to feel fatigue. Lastly, system feature overload causes fatigue among students due to the feelings of falling behind with the latest trends. The students have also given their suggestions in coping with fatigue, such as taking breaks, turning off notifications, playing with pets, meditation, venting on social media, and playing games. What can university do to help in lowering fatigue from the increased usage of MIM application during this pandemic? Third measures are reducing the amount of academic workload, holding events to raise awareness on MIM fatigue, weekly psychological well-being session, and resuming face-to-face class.
In conclusion, this study highlights the extent of communication overload and invasion of life from MIM usage causes fatigue. The significant discovery of the study includes the degree of communication overload and invasion of life has increased with increasing MIM. This is due to there are barriers to conversation and restriction to conduct physical meeting. There are also no clear distinction between studying hours and also leisure hours. From the interpretation of the findings, we can see that there are a strong positive correlation between MIM usage and fatigue.
These are the reference lists that were used in our study.
Thank you for watching.